Hi everyone, welcome to our channel. I'm Heidi.
And I'm Aaron.
And this is our spring book haul.
We got books from a lot of events over this last spring. We had Comicon, I had a birthday, and then we hit up our local bookstore multiple times.
And I won 2 books from Goodreads. So we're gonna quickly go through what we've accumulated.
So the book I'll start with is I got The Fifth Head of Cerberus by Gene Wolfe. This is 3 stories that tie together apparently into something really great. It's on my top 100 sci-fi of all time, so excited to get to that one.
The first book I won from Goodreads is called Watching Edie by Camilla Way, and I am maybe a third of the way into it, and it's a really interesting thriller, and I don't really know a lot about the plot, but that's good with a thriller, and I am enjoying it.
A couple that I got, Consider Phlebas and Player of Games by Ian M. Banks. These are the first 2 in the Culture series. I'm glad I got my hands on these because I have had use of weapons, and so I'm excited to get to this one. Player of Games and Use of Weapons are on my sci-fi list, so I'll be able to check those off once I read those. Excited.
The other book I won from Goodreads is called Curse of Chorus by Marie J.S. Phillips. And I really don't know anything about this one other than it is high fantasy, and the author did a lot of world building, so I'm excited to get into that one.
My next one was The Chrysalids by John Wyndham. This one's about a guy that leaves a commune, a very religious commune, and so doesn't know much about the world, and it's apparently post-apocalyptic as well. I'm excited because I've read Dave the Triffids, also by John Wyndham, and it's really great book, and so it's another one by him I'm excited to get to.
One of the books I got at Comicon, there was a booth with a whole bunch of authors, and they had a ton of books out, and they kind of attacked my friend and I, and we bought way too many books. But one of them is called The Ark by Patrick S. Tomlinson, and I'm not sure if it's science fiction, but I think it's light science fiction, and I'm excited to get into that one.
Next one is Ubik by Philip K. Dick. I've so far only read Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep. I really like that one. I'm excited to get to this one. It's about kind of a sort of time travel, mystery, psychics. Weird, just like Dick.
The next one I got at Comicon is Clash of Eagles by Alan Small. I love this cover, and I have no idea really what it's about, except for it's set in a world where Rome never fell. So that looks amazing.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah.
The next one is Revelation Space by Alistair Reynolds, another one on my list. This one's about a scientist investigating the obliteration of a society right before they discovered space flight. Heard a lot of good things.
Another one from Comicon is Windswept by Adam Rakonis. And this one is about science fiction about a woman who's trying to retire, and she keeps getting swept back into the army, I think, and she has to recruit people before they'll let her retire. So that sounds interesting.
Another one I got was Speaker for the Dead by Orson Scott Card. I'm actually reading this on audiobook right now, and it's actually pretty good. So, yeah, excited to finish that one, and I'm actually a lot more impressed with the Ender series than I thought I was going to be.
How many of the Enders are on your list?
4 at least,
4?
Yeah, including 1 on the Shadow series. So,
Another one I got from Comicon is Outriders by Jay Posey. Another science fiction that I'm not sure exactly what it's about, but the cover is amazing.
Another one was Stanislaw Lem, Solaris. This one's been made into a couple movies. I've seen the George Clooney one, but essentially people investigating a planet and reliving painful memories as in seeing the people in them again. So I'm excited to get to this one. It's a classic.
Comic-Con for me was pretty much who has the best covers on their book, and I just snagged them all up. So this one, look at that. This is VN by Madeline Ashby, and this is about cyborgs. So I'm pretty excited about that.
This is another one on my list that I got recently, and it's City by Clifford Simak. This one's about a post-apocalyptic world, but it's dogs that become intelligent and humans coming back into the world again. And so this one sounds really interesting.
I picked that one off the shelf the other day, and I was like, I'm going to have to read that one.
Yeah, it's a fascinating idea.
At Comic-Con, we grabbed some comics, and we got this series. We got the first one at the library before we went to Comic-Con. It's called Princeless, by Jeremy Whitley and M. Goodwin. And I was so excited to find the rest of the series at Comic-Con because my girls love this. It's about a princess who is tired of the stereotypical princess role and decides to become a knight. And the art is beautiful, and we've only read the first one, but I'm excited to have the whole series.
The next one is Kurt Vonnegut, Cat's Cradle. This one's on my list too. This one's a satire about the arrogance of man and technology, and apparently how it will eventually destroy us. So, yes, sounds very interesting.
We haven't read any Vonnegut yet, but we're very excited to get into it. I got another comic series. I grabbed the whole thing because I love the artwork in this. This is a series about the witches in Macbeth, and I was able to get all of these signed by the author and the illustrator.
This one I'm really excited about. It's on my list, and I've heard a lot of good chatter about it on our books. It's A Fire Upon the Deep by Werner Ving. This one's a story about a crashed spaceship, and only 2 children end up surviving, and it's a survival story of them marooned on a planet.
I have picked up quite a few things from our local bookstore lately. The last thing that I got was just yesterday, and I'm so excited. They had The Last Star, which is the 3rd in Rick Yancey's 5th Wave series, and I'm so excited!
And strangely enough, apparently my aunt used to work at a store where Rick Yancey worked as a cashier before he was famous, so that was a kind of a small world story.
It's awesome.
So recently I picked up the Hot Girl Solo run from my local comic book shop. I really liked the character, and so I was excited to get into her run, and I've actually already finished all of these, but I'll save that for another video.
Also, I got at our local bookstore Etiquette and Espionage, which is book 1. Gail Carringer, I think that's how you say it. Which is about girls in a finishing school learning to be assassins, I think. I think it's pretty steampunky, and I have been really wanting to read this for a long time, so super psyched.
Sorry about the noise there. I forgot to say these were by Walter Simonson here. So, the author credit there. So, I'm on to just some bookstore finds that I got too, and I found the couple sequels to Dune. This is the 3rd book, Children of Dune, and this is the 4th, I believe, God Emperor of Dune. I recently reread on audiobook Dune again. I was 19 the first time I finished it, and reliving it all again was just great, and so I decided I'm going to read the sequels now.
I picked up From Ashes to Africa, a memoir by Josh and Amy Bottomley recently. I think this is an adoption story, and I am intrigued.
So I found Flowers for Algernon by Daniel Keyes. And I read this one actually in 7th grade, and I really liked it, and it's on my list, and so I was actually found a really nice hard copy at the bookstore, so I was excited about that to add to the library.
Let's see. I picked up the 2nd and third book in the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo series. And I'm excited. So I have the first one. I haven't read it yet, but now that I have all three, it'll be easier to just power through the entire trilogy.
And a bookstore find, another Vonnegut, Slaughterhouse-Five. This is his most classic, or most known for book. I actually read it recently on audiobook too, and I loved it. Loved it.
I have to get to that one. Let's see. Just a couple more that I've grabbed recently. A Child Called It by Dave Pelzer. And My Name is Russell Fink by Michael Schneider. And I don't really know much about either of them, but I have heard of them, and they've been on my list to read for a while.
Then another one I found at the bookstore, and this is actually on my list, and actually I recently, not quite yet, almost finished with collecting the list books of Orson Scott Card's Ender series. This one's Ender's Shadow. This one's from the perspective of his friends from Battle School. A lot of people like this one better than the actual Ender series, so it'll be interesting to get to.
Let's see, I have She's Come Undone by Wally Lamb, which I'm not sure, I think someone gets, I don't know what it's about, but I'm excited to get to that.
And then just browsing the bookstore when I couldn't find much of what I needed, and so I started going up and down some different aisles. And in classics, I found Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, and I'm actually a little embarrassed that I haven't read this one yet. I feel like as a lover of books that I should have read this one a long time ago, so I'm ready to get to it. Come to find out, Heidi already had a copy.
I grabbed it like right. Maybe a month before. I actually like this copy better. So.
It
is a better copy. I'll probably be more likely to read it in that form than the other. I got Perks of Being a Wallflower recently by Stephen Chbosky. Yeah. So I haven't read that one yet, but I really like this copy. So
another bookstore find, and I've been looking for this one for a long time. This is Have Spacesuit Will Travel by Robert A. Heinlein. This is kind of a juvenile, sort of hard sci-fi. I've heard of, I actually read a Connie Willis article recently that talked about this was her original inspiration to write science fiction, so I'm very excited, mostly because of the title, but also because of Connie Willis's talk about inspiration from it.
I have The Divine Secrets of the Ah-Ya Sisterhood by Rebecca Wells. I recently watched the movie, and I love watching a movie and then reading the book and then watching the movie again and kind of getting really mad at how they're not like the book at all. So that's exciting.
Another one on my list that I've been looking for a while and finally found at the bookstore is A Canticle for Leibowitz by Walter M. Miller Jr. This one, I'm not really quite sure what it's about, but love the title as well. And it's not that big, so I'm excited to get to it.
Alright, I've also picked up Stubborn Twig by Lauren Kessler. I'm really excited about this one. It sounds like a second generation Japanese family and the differences in culture, and it sounds very interesting.
Right, and then one I got was Snow Crash by Neil Stevenson, another bookstore find. I've already read this one, and I love it. I'm actually in the middle of a Stevenson book, Cryptonomicon, right now, but this one is great. The hero's name is actually Hero Protagonist, and so it's perfect. Perfect.
I found this really beat up copy of Anita Blake graphic novel, Guilty Pleasures. The outside is really beat up, but the inside looks really great, and I've been meaning to pick up one of these because I've read the novels, but I really want to see the artwork. So, it looks bad on the outside, but on the inside it looks good.
Remote in God's Eye by Larry Niven. I actually read this one, I think I finished it off this year or last year, but I found a physical copy of it at the bookstore. I read it on Kindle initially.
This was an amazing find. I got the entire trilogy in hardback for $0.25 a piece. How awesome is that? That's the Hunger trilogy by Suzanne Collins I've already read and I loved. I do want to reread it again at some point. But yeah.
So this one everyone's seen in their childhood library, Wrinkle in Time by Madeline L. Engel. I always have trouble pronouncing that. Anyway, this one's on my list, and it's one I probably should have read a long time ago now, and we're actually kind of reading it to our children, what they pay attention to.
I'm actually glad we're reading it to the kids, because I tried to read it last year at Comicon, and I could not get into it as an adult. I just couldn't do it. But seeing it through the kids' eyes, it's a lot better. It looks like, are you out of books?
I've got one more.
Okay. I picked up recently The 19th Wife by David Ebershoff. I think this is a Mormon polygamy cult situation. So that's interesting.
So I was able to find the Arpeggio of Blue Steel manga recently. I've actually read all that's in print in the United States right now, and I really love this series, and I'm angry that I have to wait till September to get even more of it. But it's great. It has to do with naval combat that's inspired from World War II. I don't want to advocate death or anything, but I really am interested by the theories and the games of naval strategy of that era, so it's really, really cool, and lots of intrigue in these stories, too.
I saw this one on BookTube recently, and I'm really glad, I don't remember who said it, but I'm really glad that they warned me, don't be scared off by the cover. It looks like a contemporary, but it's Beauty Queens by Libba Bray, and I am really excited to read this. I hear it's a lot more empowering female book. A bunch of beauty queens get stranded on an island and have to survive, and it's apparently not as weird as that sounds. It's I
actually want to read that now.
Yeah, they are strong women.
So I already have, my sister is lending me a copy of this right now. This is Earth Abides by George R. Stewart, and this is my mother's probably one science fiction book that she's ever read in her life, but she loves it. And apparently it is a bit of a classic. It's on the next 100 sci-fi list that I won't even think about getting to yet. But this is the copy we had on our bookshelves as children, so I had to pick it up when I saw it for 50 cents at the bookstore.
Okay, the next thing I grabbed recently, and I blame BookTube also, is Norwegian Wood by Haruki Murakami. I'm probably butchering that completely. But I think this one was translated, and it is about a couple, I think, breaking up and their relationship issues. I don't know, but I'm excited to get to that one.
If I'm not mistaken, that author has a deep following fan base.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, I think so.
I hear that name a lot on our books.
Mm-hmm.
Read that name.
And I also picked up Revolutionary Road by Richard Yates, which is, if I'm not mistaken, about a family in the 1950s or early 60s. I'm not sure, but I heard that it was really good. And the last one I got recently is The Middlesteins, which I think is about a family coping with one of the members and their morbid obesity. And it's kind of tearing the family apart. And that was a ton of books, but
our spring
yes,
spring book haul.
Spring book haul. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll see you guys again soon.
See you next time.